Hi, I'm Ray Winslow. Been around the sewing machine business since 1969. Back in the day when you had to work to sell a free arm machine because the flatbeds were the predominant setup and free arms were just then coming on. So you really had to, surprisingly today, how we might point it or just assume everybody knows what a free arm does. Hasn't always been the case, and still today, I think it's worth demonstrating. We have today, going back to when I started, you think about the old black dial phones, 5, 6, 7 pound phones. Nowadays we have computers that weigh less than half a pound on our wrist, and you probably have had the situation where somebody is Googling your machine for a price right in front of you while you're standing there. But I've heard it's been done, never happened to me. So what I want to point out is that in this day and age, with all the higher end machinery, the electronics, the quilting, top-end computers, this is not what I'm all about here. I'm talking about the market for $300, $400 machines, even $250 machines, whereby you want to make sure that you set yourself apart from the crowd, and the crowd being Costco with their 150 stitch units sitting on the shelf for $179, or any of the others, because what we're going to do here with a short, brief demonstration is instill some confidence in the prospect. You don't have to be an expert at sewing by any means. What you do have to know, though, is the few things you're going to demonstrate, you do well. You make it look easy. Because what this is really all about is showing that prospect why you are the place to buy the machine and not the competition, wherever they may be. So what I have done over the last, I think it's maybe 14, 15 years now, it's been passed down to me from Larry Oberson from the VDTA. It's a very basic, elementary, but yet so important, because the sewing machine has been and will still be a demonstrated product. To help out the folks and to keep myself on track, I have a worksheet that I've been giving out to folks over the years. Mind you now, I've had standing room only crowds, and I've had crowds as little as 8 or 9 people over the years. But every year it works. The VDTA has me back because they get good feedback out of this. So here's a little guideline, such things as turning prospects into customers. Again, a guideline for people, help take notes, and also for me to look at now and then and stay grounded so I don't ramble and get lost. Back to the free arm business. I'll point out something that, again, sewing jeans. If there were a Family Feud survey of the biggest problem with sewing machines, there's no doubt in my mind, number one will be sewing jeans. And this is something that's a must item. You should need to know how to sew on the jeans, and it's simply this. Number one, I always have real jeans around. I don't believe in just folding over some denim. I'll have a real pair of jeans and a good pair of jeans. That is to say, heavier caliber cloth, heavy grade cloth, because when I come over the lump, I want them to see it's the real thing. And simply put, I'm not going to spend too much time sewing here, but I just want to show you that there's a technique. You come up in this machine, which is a basic machine, nothing fancy here, but when we come up to the lump, I'll just stop, release some pressure on the foot, and with 2 hands, I pull it right on through, keeping the rhythm of the needle in time with the feed so we don't have any bent needles, jamming or fouling. Then over the hump, pass it around. Another little thing that was really amazing to me years ago was in a demonstration, I happened to point out after I did the jeans hem that suppose the side were ripped on these pants. How would you go about doing that? You had the side seam out, for example. Well, keep the pressure off the foot. And so, now I did this demo one day, and a woman was sitting right here. The husband's looking out the window about 15 feet away. She says, "George, get over here. You got to see this. I ain't never seen anything like it." It's not so much it was any miracle. It was really kind of silly. But basically, again, I had the lady's attention. She was impressed by it. She'd never seen a machine go sideways. And the husband is now engaged in the conversation of, okay, I'm impressed. I've done a few other little things here because I want to emphasize again, you go back over the years with the road shows came along, the school machines, then it came into unfulfilled orders, but there was a 25, 30 years, it's trickling out today, but there were a lot of road shows, a lot of dealers weren't happy about them because people were selling machines at apparent low prices. But let's face it, these machines were sellable, number one, but they weren't the highest grade. And it was a good, better, best affair. How did they manage to sell thousands upon thousands of machines which weren't really the best available out there? Okay? A demo, a hard-hitting demo showing some things like how you can own this machine and how you can save yourself money. And the denim jeans hem is a key factor. Some of the other little things, now I've done it ahead, so I don't want to spend too much time here running the machine because there are all kinds of machines are out there, but they'll all do it. I'll also say on occasion I was rolling out a stretch stitch for a lady, and she was watching the machine go, and it wasn't moving all that fast because of the action of the stretch stitch. It was going too forward, one back, and she says, well, it's taking its time getting down the line, isn't it? And I said, well, that's the nature of the beast. Now, if you want, I can go and give you a regular old straight stitch, which I did, right next to it. And then as I showed her the difference between the two, when you stretch out here, that's what happens. And, so what would you rather take, the slow road or the fast road? It really depends on you. But showing her in this fashion is a demonstration of what your machine is going to do. Who wants to see a blind hem? This one is yes, okay, good. Close your eyes. I was with a lady one time, she was looking at me like a stone face, and there's nothing going to make her do anything to get engaged with me. But when I laid out the line about close your eyes, she finally cracked a smile and we were engaged because, again, that's what the demo is all about, getting the attention and keeping it of your prospect. So I will go down and I will run a blind hem with the blind hem stitch. I don't use any guides when I do these things because I just want to show the machine's capabilities. Putting on the guides, taking things off and on takes time. So out comes the blind hem look now. And I'll be surprised over the years how many dealers I've come across who really don't understand how to make that fold. But there it is. I don't worry about the uniformity of it all because the point being, if that were the right color thread, you wouldn't see it anyway. But that's one of the third items that I do. Another thing that's fun in the $300-400 range is, again, let's go back to the high-tech embroidery machines, and that's all there. However, you want to have some fun with a mechanical machine, drop the feed dogs, take the pressure off the foot, and away you go, freestyle. Now, I did this to save time. It's already been done. But what I will do in this case is show up, make a little monogram, and say, not bad, eh? That's for the folks in Minnesota. Other parts of the country, maybe a different letter, but I always point out after I do the A, please, don't make me do a B because that's all I know. Speaking of that's all I know, I've made A's, who knows, I don't know how many times, hundreds if not thousands. Key point when you're making a demonstration is no matter how many times you have done it yourself, you know what? It's the first time for the prospect that you're in front of right now. So don't get any assumptions that this is boring or I've done this before. Oh, how silly is this? I'm going to make a little monogram. It works. How do those people out there, again, sell all those machines all those years? A demo. Short, sweet, concise, and impressive. That's what I will try and instill every year, and if people come back, VDTA still has me year in, year out, and I believe it's a great passage of lore. And then there's the other parts of this business, the history of sewing machines in America. Old Isaac Merritt Singer, way back when, he was a piece of work, and a little knowledge about the history and the lore of the business and some of the things that have gone on in the last 50 years. Again, going from the 5-pound black rotary phone to these little computers we now have. Times have changed, batons get passed, people share things, and that's what I'm all about here, is sharing the things I've come across in my time that pass along, because some of the old timers I knew were long gone. One of these days I'll be gone too, and I would like to really share and help these younger folks in the business get the feeling of power when they sit down in that market, because there's money being left on the table. And that's my pitch.